Oh, we have an excellent connection. Excellent connections. In Plain Air Live. In Plain Air Live. Live. In Plain Air Live. So when I start the show and I'm doing all this setting up here, Gunner's already over there just eating melons. So this is my co-host. He's just chatting it up with people. He's over there like just at the sample table. And he's just going in on those melons. Melon Munt out here. AKA In Plain Air Live. Gunner, you already going in on the melons. I already introduced you as Melon Munt, man. You just like at the sample table, just like chatting it up, like show's about to begin. But you're too cool for school.
They got gelato right here.
Nice.
Gelato maker. I want to interview.
A gelato, yeah. Let's talk about it. We don't have many listeners. We don't have. This is crazy. We don't have many. They're asking how many listeners do we have. They got a gelato spot. She might come by. We might have what shows she's a gelato producer.
Yeah. Are we on?
We are on. I'm live. I've been live for 2 minutes and 38.9 seconds, somewhere around there.
I gotta send my grandfather the link.
Let's link up. So this one's called In Plain Air Live. Sorry? Oh, I made it really simple, so it's I came up with the idea from the French to be painting en plein air, which is a different spelling than just plain air. So plain air, it's just the way you'd spell it, like plain air.
So IN space PLAIN space air space live. In Plain Air Live.
But also you can find it Plain Air Live too. The name of this episode is In Plain Air Live, or the title of this episode, and it's on live, YouTube Live. That we don't have, we haven't compiled the videos yet. Yeah, that's a video that I edited for the background, just to be playing when we don't have the live stream going. So we're just like, I'm just talking about it right now. We leave everything transparent. So are you guys? So you're a gelato family? Oh, okay. Do I detect an accent? Are you British?
Yes.
Okay. But you got one of those sort of British accents. You know what I mean? They're like, well, I grew up in Barbados, and then I was in, you know.
I grew up in Azerbaijan.
See, I knew that it was an international play. I just know. You know, I just can get a read right off the rip that you were international like that. Yeah.
We got the.
Yeah, it's like an international accent is what they'll kind of say.
How long will this interview take? Because we do.
We'll be here. Oh, it won't be. We could take 5 minutes. We do it fast and loose here. Like I said, I'm running it right now, and we're talking as he's setting up.
Get the camera going.
And I'm gonna get the camera going.
Show's connected.
Show is connected. So like, watch. We're gonna get this
Daily.
Lately, nice to meet you. I'm Gunner.
My name's Michael. Hi, nice to meet you. So
It's very American.
I think it's very American.
It's German.
no, Gunnar almost, the only people I would know with a name like Gunnar, it might be German or Icelandic. It's like a weird, Axel is also very German, but it's like gears from like Axel and Gunnar. It's like elements of a fighter pilot jet or something. You know what I mean? It's just like, that's his brother's name. His brother's name's Axel. That's why I said that. Yeah. What's the only person I ever known named Axel when I was a kid, my generation, was Axl Rose.
I'm so sorry because I had all these things planned for my
Listen, we go fast and loose. Our show wasn't riding on whether or not we got an interview with the gelato producer, which I appreciate you wholeheartedly, and I'd love to talk to you, but no pressure. We won't be out. I will be on my way to Spain, and he'll be in. Oh, you won't be in Florida quite yet.
Not yet, but I'll be going.
But we'll be back at one point. Like we'll be here. We're gonna take a little intermission, but during that time I'll load the episodes that we did already do. Like they're all just in the live right now, so you can listen to them in live. And she's watching it. And
right now. That's insane.
yeah, you guys are gonna be in it. So there you go. That's what I like it. So it's live, it's candid, you know, and I just leave it transparent. I love it if Gunnar, my cameraman, see how he's so relaxed? He's over there eating melon. I call him Melon Munt because he's just over there. He was in the movie Twister 3. Now, listen. No stress. We're going to put the camera.
We'll be back.
I'm gonna try your gelato, and next time I see you, I'll let you know.
Are you Italian?
Oh, I wish.
Oh, okay.
I love Italian food.
Okay. I live with my grandmother who was from Italy. So since I've come. Please, thank you. So.
Good vibes. Can you turn my mic up, please?
Yeah. You didn't get the mic up.
No, there we go. Now I
Buddha
can hear.
boo. Bada
Boom,
bing.
boom, 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 boom.
Yeah,
boom.
so that those were some gelato folks, and like I said, it wasn't dependent, no pressure, because they were like, we need to be on the. I'm like, no pressure, we're not running a show like that. Let me see something, Gun. Hold on a second. Oh, it's got like a, what is that there?
That's the attachment
Oh, it's so wide angle that
that it's catching the plastic that it's on.
crazy. No, I know. How do we? Oh,
You
there
gotta
we go.
Just go up
And bada boom. There we go. Because I never saw that before. I never saw that plastic in the farm. That's like what they do on the.
It's like the GoPro mount. That's like
It is,
you
and
know.
that's what they do on the space. What is it? The
launches. Like you see the rocket that
you
the
gotta
camera's
see
attached.
a little bit.
to.
Yeah, you're like, wait a second. You guys are NASA and you couldn't work out getting around your own tripod. You know it's a prop, man.
It's part of it,
That's
yeah.
when you know it's a prop. They set you up. They're like, we throw something in the foreground and you see that spherical.
You see the rocket launching into space, and you see the sphere.
You know,
So-
yes. So you need to see that little element.
Yeah.
Of,
You need to see You need to see part of the rocket.
You're like, you didn't have a guy. So we just did this live right now. Like, I'm like, boom. I'm like, okay, we got a problem here, Houston. And we corrected it. They couldn't
did.
get out there and take care of that on the space shuttle. Not one person on their live feed from the space station. You know, because at the space station, they always have something in the foreground, too. They also have
there's-
cables from their belts
Sure.
that you can see sometimes, like they're trapeze artists. They also I'm not saying it's not real. I'm just saying you can see it.
Do you think they're where are they? How are they filming this, bro? If it wasn't real, then there would totally be people be like, "Yo, this shit was not real."
That's true, but they might. When you sign an NDO, it's called non-disclosure NDA, non-disclosure agreement.
Yeah, but like it's just a piece of paper you're signing. Like
it's just
somebody
a
would
piece of paper.
somebody would be like, "Hey, yo, we filmed the moon landing here in this
But
studio."
they do that. They all just say they're quacks. I mean, I'm just saying they could they just
Sure.
say they're quacks. Then
Sure,
they
sure.
get marginalized. But you know how they get
Yeah.
marginalized? Because they live in Los Angeles, most likely. In Los Angeles, it's so stratified That if you're meaning that if
If you're not status quo, you're crazy.
yes. There you go. That's simple. And they're broke too because they cut off your credit. They're like, your credit's a wrap.
Yeah.
How's that? They're like, wait a second. So since you came out and said it was like this, did you find out that your credit was 625? You're in the 600s now, player. You went from 772.
It's 600 is not like atrocious though.
No, but I'm saying they were like,
What's like atrocious credit? Like
I don't
400?
even know if they go into the 400. Why are we already arbitrarily at like dancing around 700? It's for the
Why
days of
isn't
the
it
week.
like a 1 through 10 scale? Like,
That's what I
Like,
thought.
why isn't it like you got a 10 out of 10 credit, you got an A plus, you got a
It's-
9 out of 10 credit, you got an A, you got a
Yeah.
A minus, you know, like a B. Like, just make it an understandable scale. So like,
It's true. It
So it
kind of
makes
feels
sense.
because it should be like the Olympic 10 point must scoring system. You know?
everything should be in the tens.
Because you're doing that. You're
Tens make sense, bro. That's why
the metric system.
the metric system works so well. Like,
Yeah, it does.
Like,
we
what is
understand the
what-
power. That's a great film you should watch, though, just for aesthetic purposes, because
Mhm.
it's called The Power of 10, and it pulls out, and it's Charles and Ray Eames, the furniture designers that you like. You like that chair and ottoman. You know the one I'm talking about, the modern one.
yeah, I do that chair that all the New York cats want.
Yeah,
It's like their dream chair.
It's like that you get that chair, you've reached
You've
a
made
certain
it.
status. You get the Eames lounge chair,
Yeah.
you are a certain status. So not to digress, The Power of 10 is a film in which it goes from molecularly in the guy's hand, taking a picnic, a nap, goes in molecular, like pulls out of the guy's body, out into, the stratosphere. It's cool.
So
And
it's just
he
kind of
did
like
that.
a psychedelic zoom almost.
It's like a zoom out, a slow, very slow zoom out.
But the dude's just having a picnic.
He's like laying in the grass or something. It's been a while since I've seen it, but that's Charles and Ray Eames, he and his wife, who had a studio right here in Santa Monica where Isolde's old office was. Down on Main Street, they had, where he was designing out of that building down there. And it's the one that has that little, like, arcade inside it. It's across the street from one of those sneaker stores like Stadium Goods or whatever it's called over there.
Undefeated.
Undefeated. Like, you could take one L, man. Like, let's just, like, how about if you were, like, just like you took one L?
I was just like, okay.
Yeah, like, what would you call the name of that sneaker shop if you had one L on your record? You just call it, like, whatever
What do
your
you mean
record
one,
was in
one L on my record? Like a loss?
Well, undefeated is saying that you're, like, whatever an O. You still got your, in the boxing lexicon, you still got your O. You're
Partial-
undefeated. Like, if you still have your O, you holding on to the O, like, which
Yeah,
is
yeah.
like that zero. Like,
That
you
undefeated
haven't
record.
you're undefeated, like Floyd Mayweather.
He's
You know?
just, yeah.
So I'm saying they went with undefeated. You got one L, you take one L. You might have taken a loss. You're just gonna have to call it like 56-1.
I don't know what you would go if you went from undefeated to, well, then you would
It's a
just
silly
it's just
concept.
a record.
It's a silly concept. Anyway,
What are we digressing about right now?
yeah, it's a constant digression.
Yeah.
So what do we got? So as we kind of
That's a good name for the show.
What's that?
Constant digression.
Constant digression, maybe a little bit too. So that's a thing. Okay, so you don't know, and I saw now, and I want to talk about, and I don't want to be pejorative when I say this, but like homelessness and stuff like that. So that guy right there, I think I saw him last week, that just rolled by with that rolling cart. And this is what we're talking about, stratification. And that guy could have probably worked for JPL or maybe NASA. We don't know. And,
Sure.
And he's rolling around with his 620 credit now. And he looks like, when you're in Santa Monica, and I'm coming out of, let's say, the Apple store, and we're walking up the block and the sunlight's behind him, and I'm seeing him with that rolling cart and like a headrest, like you don't know if he's a tourist that just got off an airplane, he just arrived,
Sure.
Uber just dropped him off on the promenade, he's looking for his Airbnb, or the guy's homeless. And I just realized right now that he actually is a homeless man. And I assumed, and you have to question your own sensibility at times and your own sense of judgment.
I wouldn't
and all
even
that sort
assume
of-
that. Like, we don't know.
That's I didn't assume that he was. I actually said, oh, he looks like he might be a traveler. He had on the headrest.
Sure.
You know what I mean? His sneakers were clean. Like he got his sneakers together. They were like they might have what I saw some Stan Smiths just now. They looked clean, and I think before they were more of a technical contemporary shoe that he had on last time, and they were clean too. And maybe in that suitcase he got a couple clean kicks. You don't know,
Maybe.
like, you know what I mean? Like, and there's this gradation in LA of you know, sort of you know, like living in a van. Like there was a guy that in Venice that lived in a van. You need it down a little bit. That lived in a van across the street from my house, and he was like, it was like his apartment. They was called van lords. So not landlord. You got a van lord, and the van. Listen to this. Hold on. And the van doesn't move. It's got like it's a dead battery. Might not even have a battery in it. And a guy rents out those fucking vans to people to live in the van. Like he's paying like $300. Like whatever he's making, he's paying $300 a month to live in that van. True story. And I'm telling you, the van that was posted up there in Venice by my house was there. Like when I was there for 2 years, I saw probably about 2 or 3 tenants in that bitch. True story. So think about it. That's what I'm trying to say. The gradation. And that guy, he had a kit, kind of. He had his outfit together. He had a skateboard. He'd be on his cell phone talking shit out front like it was his porch.
Yeah.
Okay, this is right behind Intelligentsia. You and Joe
bro.
are on the front end. Let me tell you, you and Joe in the office are on the front end. You get your back end activity. It gets wild out there, man. I'm saying.
Sure.
So that guy out there, I'm gonna say is that back end, but you guys need to walk to the back and park out
I've
front.
seen the back end.
Okay.
For sure.
I know.
Going to your place and then also just entering through the back. I mean, I lived in Venice, so I've seen.
I know.
I've
You-
seen
so
the
you
van.
know it,
I've
but-
seen it, but now I'm hearing this different perspective.
That's
where
what I'm trying. See, like that's what I'm trying to say, because
Where-
you grew up in it, and so
Yeah.
like if you're blind to it, these little nuances, because it's just what it is.
It's
Like,
just there.
it's just there.
Like
I
I'm
see
not like
people-
I'm not like hyper like what's going on in that van? Who's living there? What are they paying rent
You're not
for?
exactly-
I'm
you're
not
not-
thinking about any of that. I'm just thinking there's
I
somebody
knew
or
you did.
people living
Yeah,
in that van.
I anticipated that you didn't try to think about the storyline. So like there's a whole storyline there.
See, like that's just kind of a storyline that I'm not quite interested in.
It doesn't matter that you're not interested in it. It exists. Like what I'm trying to say is that the
There's
thing about
storylines for everything. There's a storyline about the guys who are homeless on the
Okay,
street
so let me-
trading
of course,
goods.
but that
and
contextualizes the cinematic view of your life, right?
there's
like
an
so,
entire world of homelessness that I don't understand or know about.
people are often curious. They're like they're
And there's-
munching on their crumpet, their croissant, their pain au chocolat, their whatever they might be munching on right there. They're looking like, what's going on here? Us talking here.
Yeah.
But I didn't mean to interrupt you, Gunners. Please go ahead. You haven't never. So what I'm trying to say is, you living in Venice and having grown lived like you've acclimated since birth.
Sure.
By the time you're 8, you're desensitized. Let's say even 8, maybe. And I was just talking about that this morning, being inquisitive with my mother about little certain things and
Yeah.
saying the wrong thing. Like don't say that, Michael. Like that was rude. You know what I
Sure,
mean? Like
sure.
that sort of thing. And by the time you're 8, maybe you're desensitized, and you're just stepping over a homeless man while you're licking your ice cream cone or munching on
Exactly.
your acai bowl. They're just a part of the.
It's just part of the ecosystem.
So
It's part of the flow.
So when I move here, when I'm like 40 some years old, and I'm from New York, and homelessness is not integrated, it's not as the optics aren't the same. Like it's either you're like in a soup kitchen line, or you're just a functioning human being in society. Really, you know, like
New York
like,
is a drastic split. Almost.
Yeah, it is. So you don't have this.
I mean, I don't know though. It's a spectrum for everything, and everywhere.
It surely is, but it's the optics. It's far more in your face in California, and especially in Venice, and I'm just saying that. So I'm like inspecting. I'm like, well, this guy doesn't seem psychologically off. This guy over here, maybe he had a bad run in the stock market. Like you just don't know. You know what I mean? So I'm investigating, but the guys that live close, I kind of got like I didn't even have to investigate. I didn't even have to write the narrative. It was, evident. How are you today?
Fantastic.
Good to see you.
Great.
I was okay, now I'm fantastic.
Now you're fantastic. Hi,
Guys,
Michael.
Andrew, it's good to meet you.
Nice to meet you as well.
What's going on today?
Right now, we're talking about the dynamics of homelessness in Los Angeles versus New York City.
And it's not really. That's not what the podcast is about. Everyone asks.
Yeah.
It's about linen, nice green sage linen. I like that.
this
That's
is-
what it is right now about. You know.
Very
Love it.
astute of you to pick up that it's linen.
Yeah. I love linen.
Linen's great.
Yeah. I
It keeps you cool. It pulls the sweats.
it's
It's a high vibration fabric too.
I agree. It is a hybrid.
It really is.
Pulls this one.
Yeah, I just got a linen suit for a wedding. You know, like I'd like but I also appreciate linen. I paint. I prefer linen to cotton, like the canvas.
Oh, you do?
Yeah, so like I'm just saying, like, you know, of course I always will pick up if I see a linen shirt.
Wow.
Just
This is such a dope. We talked a couple weeks ago. I just got back in New York a week ago.
I'm gonna get you on here a little bit.
And
We'll just.
we spoke
Do you want a
about this
headset?
podcast.
You want a headset? Great.
So this is how fast and loose we do it.
We
Someone
got
walks
one
up.
for you.
Yeah, we got one for you. Here, let me hand it to you, Gunner. Just take that headset. We were just talking about the optics of homelessness and
Number 3, Mike.
number 3. Yeah.
You got the lob?
Yep, I do. Here you go. Lob it up. Let's just see. I can't remember which one it is. No, it's number 4. Yeah.
You can either hold it near your like.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, there we go.
So you had spoken to Gunner. You had just met him. See, I'm just coming to these cold as well.
We got a chair right here.
Sit
if you
down on
want
a chair.
If you want to chill.
Pull a chair up.
Unbelievable.
Look at this. He's like you thought you stepped into that's what I say. Like you're at the market, but now you just stepped into a whole new, like sort of
dimension.
Yeah, you feel it, right?
Big time. Wait, can I ask? Would you guys like a fig?
Are you a fig guy?
I'm a many things guy. One
Yeah.
of them is figs, but
But-
I just bought some.
Okay, sure.
Figs are something that are a bit touchy for me. I didn't like figs
Touchy.
growing up.
Yeah.
Recently, I tried them again and was like, not a fan.
You're not traumatized.
Not
You're just
traumatized. I'm
interested.
curious. It's been this kind of like push and pull dynamic.
I like
where
that traumatized.
I've had a dried fig before, and it was spectacular. I still haven't had that fig yet. That makes me like.
So it's a textural
Blows
thing for
my
you,
mind.
I think. I think it might be a textural thing.
Yeah, I guess there's taste and there's tooth when it comes to sort of like your sensibility with food and
Yeah.
how you can have a gag reflex to it based on and I'm like that. If a texture is you're never like this tastes terrible for me, but if a texture is bad, I'm like nah,
Wait,
can't do it.
I need to change tacks for 1 second. What happened to your hand, to your arm?
I got into a bike crash, turning right on Venice Boulevard and Electric, and I was coming in really fast into a corner.
That's what you do on there, yeah.
Yeah, and I just put a new tire compound on my bike, which is less sticky, but it rolls faster, so I could get more range on my e-bike. And I'm listening to music at the same time, putting my phone in my pocket. I look up, I realize I'm going quite fast, and I only have one arm available, so I pull the brake. It's the front brake, and the tire skids out. I end up going down. Textbook crash, too. I mean, like arm, shoulder, elbow, wrist, just like
You rolled in.
rolled out of it.
And what did you break?
I broke my scaphoid.
I broke my left scaphoid riding my bike.
Just
I broke this called the boxer brake off a rear view mirror in New York City on a bike.
I have a
Like that,
boxer
yeah.
brake on this pinky,
Yeah.
and I have a scaphoid brake on this pinky. On this here. From going over the
Yeah.
handlebars of my bike.
Yeah.
When I,
got-
was
but
20
this-
years old, coming home from working at Wellesley Country Club at midnight
Where is Wellesley?
in Wellesley, Massachusetts.
Okay.
Yeah.
Were you a caddy?
that's where my dad's from.
I was a caddy, but this is not what I was doing. I also was a cook.
Okay.
So I was coming home from, anyway, cruising through the college campus. Babson College was what was in between Wellesley Country Club and my house. And I would cruise through Babson College, and I flipped over the handlebars at, darkness.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And broke the fall and went home and was like, this isn't good. This is not good. And kind of dealt with it for the summer. In fact, I was
Wow.
like, and then discovered I had a broken scaphoid. So I know that I was in the cast. For a while.
You're familiar with that break, and so let's get let's introduce
Gunnar
you.
and my name is Andrew Oliveri.
Okay.
And I live in Venice, and I'm from.
We were just talking about Venice,
Amazing.
and Oliver,
Let's-
and you're an
let's-
Italian American. Is that
Let's
correct?
get into it. Let's get into
Yeah.
it.
So we met at Cold Pass.
Yeah.
And I know that you work there, but do you also plunge there?
I do, yes.
Yeah. So I'm there all the time, and I like the vibe there. I like the way I feel when I get out of the cold plunge.
Yeah.
And there's just cool people hanging around. So I ran into him one day. He mentioned I got a podcast at the Wednesday Morning Farmers Market. I'm like, I'm always there. I've never seen these. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, stop by, which is incredible. When I looked over, I keep looking at my cooler. By the way, when you keep seeing me,
Is that
turning
your
around-
blue cooler?
Yeah.
Cooler? Well, bring it over. Grab it so you don't have to look back there.
No, that's fine. You guys are looking at it.
Yeah,
it's fine.
I got
Nothing's
you.
gonna happen to it.
Gunner's got it.
I got you.
Nothing's gonna
Wait,
happen.
I didn't get your first name.
Michael.
Michael, Andrew.
Yeah, Andrew. Nice to meet you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you have like a I'll tell you, you have like a. Who is the actor from the Usual Suspects? This is more of a vibe thing than
Yeah.
look. You remind me of a few things. You remind me of like a Northeast kind of old school, like, shoot, what is his name? Kevin Pollak. You're like
Kevin Pollak.
You're like Rick Pitino meets Kevin Pollak.
Rick Pitino. I like that. I like that it's a coach.
Yeah.
What was it? He was a college basketball coach for the Kentucky, right?
Kentucky,
Yeah.
and a number of other teams.
For sure.
He's still coaching now, and I don't not
And
Kentucky.
those and it's funny. So a mentor of mine, really, truly. When you say Rick Pitino, and it's very specific.
Yeah, I know.
So a mentor of mine is kids that I grew up with were. His father was a coach. Anthony Louis Morocco,
Amazing name.
the third.
Yeah.
And his father was Junior.
Yeah.
And Junior was his dad was like sort of like a boss about town, and like he was kind of maybe had dealings, but so these
Maybe
guys,
we're connected.
yeah, connected. But these guys were coaches.
Yeah.
And involved with so the guy lives right here in Santa Monica, who's from my grandmother's neighborhood, is Sonny Vaccaro, and he was the star of Air, or Matt Damon plays him in Air, and he's the guy that discovers Michael Jordan, basically, essentially not discovers him, but sort of it creates the whole model in which you. So when you say Rick Pitino, it's funny that you must see something deep inside of
Yeah,
me
I do.
that is particular, and I appreciate the value of that.
Yeah. Don't worry. Yeah.
Because it's really particular. Like
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
like
It's
like
a-
this is like fundamental age too. This is like when I'm like playing basketball when I'm like 5th, 6th grade.
Yeah.
Do you know? Like it's like that 12. When you're 12 years old.
Yeah.
It's that forging time
That's right.
sort of.
'Cause you and I are the same generation, about.
Well, how
I
old are
think
you?
52.
Okay, so yeah, I'm going to be 50 in November.
Yeah, that's
so
what I'm
we're,
saying. We're right- we're
you're
right
like
in
an
this-
older. You're like a senior in high school. I'm like a sophomore.
that's right.
We could have went to the same
And,
high school.
and what are you doing out here? Or where are you from?
I'm from New Jersey. Like, when I'm referring to that too, my grandmother's neighborhood is actually in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and but I spent most of my life in New York and New Jersey. Ultimately, like I moved here from New York City after college. I lived there for 25 years. The
You
whole.
lived in New York for 25. 20
Yeah, and then before that, I lived in New Jersey.
And when did you get out here?
I went to I just got out here I like how this is an interview. 2.5, 3 years ago. You're interviewing me.
I do that. That's what I do.
You flipped it.
I do.
So
Yeah.
but you.
But we'll come back to me.
Yeah, we'll get back to you for sure. Let's do that. But yeah, so Rick Pitino, and who was the other guy? You said it was a comment.
Kevin Pollak.
Kevin Pollak.
Because there's the intensity of Rick Pitino. Rick Pitino means business all the time.
Yeah,
But
I don't always mean business.
No, that's why I say Kevin Pollak.
Okay.
Do you know who Kevin Pollak is? Kevin Pollak is hysterical.
I know the
He's like-
usual suspects, but I don't know Kevin Pollak.
You guys will bring him up.
I
You're like
can't place him.
Oh,
Yeah, I
man.
can't play because I was gonna.
Kevin
I thought.
Pollak is epic, dude.
Is he the guy in the
I thought
usual
you were gonna
suspects
say
who's like
Kevin Spacey.
kind of stuttering
And you're not
over
talking about
himself?
Kevin Spacey.
No.
Okay, so because Kevin Spacey's also an
He's
unusual.
also- bring up Kevin Pollak. You'll see exactly what I'm talking. You guys could be like from the same family, cousins.
Oh, Kevin Pollak. I like. Okay, I
Yeah.
like him as an actor.
He's great. He's so funny.
Yeah, you're not shoot. Kevin Pollak is like, is he Italian? Is he Jewish?
Right, you don't know.
You don't know.
But he's a New.
He's
well,
a
I
New
don't know
Yorker,
if he is a New Yorker, but he certainly plays both. He's like me.
What's Rick Pitino? Is he a New Yorker?
I don't know, actually.
But he's got a vibe. So you're also Italian American. You're from Northeast.
Italian, Boston.
Same. So I'm same as it's the old class. So we're almost actually like a generation. Like we're like actually baby boomer sort of chemistry.
Yeah. Exactly.
But we're in Generation X.
Exactly.
And I'm on the tail end of Generation X. You're kind of still in the little bit.
Yeah, you're at the very tail end.
I'm at the last day of it.
That's right.
I got a month. It's literally November 30th.
Oh, right.
Like,
Is that right?
Like there's 30 days until when that ends. Like
Yeah.
Generation X is like, okay, Mike, you're out of here.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Yeah, you definitely. It's so funny. Now that the more and more we keep talking, now I'm really getting.
You're good.
Kevin Pollak, Rick Pitino.
You're getting more. I like how you're like you came over here and you kind of did me like a wine. You're like that. You're like you're like stone. I'm getting more stone fruit on this,
That's
but on
right.
the palate,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
it's
A nice long finish.
It's schist
Yeah.
and it's calcified rock maybe.
That's
no,
right.
I get. You're giving me a wine tasting
Yeah.
assessment.
That's exactly.
Yeah.
That's my style.
And I was also going to say, I appreciate your style. I knew when this guy meant business when he first came up, and he's got Carhartts and a sort of sage linen.
Now wait, listen, I appreciate that more than you can imagine. But
Yeah.
how do you know, how did you clock all that? 'Cause
I just saw you walk up.
I get that, but like what I'm saying is that not everybody is going to clock that these are Carhartts.
Yeah, well,
they're
because I've
vintage.
worn them. I've
You
worn
know.
I know. I've worn Carhartts. I've worked in Carhartts. And I just it's funny because how I got the idea to do the podcast at the farmers market is that I work for myself in New York and I started doing the podcast, and I might have said this last week, but I don't want to be redundant.
Yeah.
So I'll drill this home. It's the name of the show is Plain Air, in Plain Air, and we when I worked at the market, I just had such a good time.
Wait, you worked at this market?
No, I did
Okay.
the one in New York at
Got it.
Union Square, and I did the one at Fort Greene in Brooklyn for a farmer friend. And for instance, his Carhartts looked like, like really worked in like a guy that works on a farm. He's from Alabama, originally, is like, a comparative literature guy. Like he looked like Sam Shepard. Wants to be this guy. You know how actors are kind of like insecure because they're like, "Wow, my hands are soft, and I really have never done anything." He wants to be. He's like missing a digit. Like,
Yeah.
got it. You know what I mean?
Fucking amazing.
Yeah. He's got like he
Yeah.
looks like Sam Shepard. Like
Yeah.
he's like everyone loves. So I ended up working for him at the selling. They're very much like Garden of,
Yeah.
like that sort of farm stand. Vegetables look pristine,
Yeah.
triple washed, like, and beautiful farming. Everyone loved Richard. So I worked. I filled in one day because my partner, who's here at the market, she did it for a little stint here and there, like a girl, like, out of college, kind of like I went working at the farmer's market and did it for Richard here and there. And then I took over one day for her because she couldn't do it when she started teaching, and I liked it.
Yeah.
I just thought I'd just do it for one day, like
Yeah.
I'd fill in, and I liked it so much. I liked the activity. I liked all that sort of thing. And he, of course, wore Carhartt, like he lived in those Carhartts.
Yeah.
And they look like you've done actual work in those Carhartts, unless you bought them vintage, and that's a whole, sort of.
I buy a lot of things vintage.
Okay.
And I bought them vintage, and
Yeah.
I also do I live in them and I work in them and all this stuff. And
Yeah.
but the other thing too is that Carhartt now.
It's not made the same.
They're not made the same, and that is
Are they made in the USA anymore?
no. Most of them are no longer.
Yeah.
Made in the USA. Anyway, point being is that I like the vintage ones for that reason. They're just better. They're better.
There's nuances about all that
Yeah.
stuff. Like,
and I also just listen. I like when you can get something specific. I like the double. These are the double knee.
yeah.
I'm the same thing. I like the double knee. It
They're
adds a
broken in-
whole nother level to it.
There's
and
a thickness and a texture to
Yeah,
it, and the patina that you get on it, you get that like sort of like.
I like the drape too.
You get that. What do they call it? Whiskering in the
Yes.
knees, because there's more fabric in the. It's like stronger in the front, and
Yeah.
so it's pushing on the leg more toward like it's a vibe.
It's a vibe, and they also they wear real well.
So
And
I clocked it
And I
immediately.
do real work in them.
Yeah,
you'll be
that's
happy
good.
to know.
Yeah,
and
that-
I'm working on losing a digit. For
Yeah,
you.
don't let. I'm gonna.
wait,
I do a
someone's-
lot of what.
Who's this?
Someone's calling.
Yeah, we're gonna get rid of them. They're
Yeah,
not
that-
bad.
we don't need the. We don't need the.
We don't need them.
So we got a lot. We got some Belgium loafers. See, like I'm clocking like this quickly in the background. We got Belgium loafers in the background right there. See those yellow loafers?
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
That's a Belgium loafer, and I'm
Why-
like,
so hold on a second. Now you're really revealing
I'm getting
yourself.
sartorial.
You know, yeah, you are.
I'm just
Why
a
is it
studied
that
guy.
I love all of this.
But I'm
And
not in
but wait,
fashion.
I'm gonna do a.
I'm not
gonna
in
do
fashion.
A shameless. You're not.
No.
That was my next question.
I'm
Why-
not in fashion. I knew that you were. So it's funny you should say this because I just, before we started the show, and I like to leave everything, I had a show for 3 years in New York up on sort of a hub called No Wave, KNOW
What do you mean a
Wave.
hub? What do you mean a hub?
Like it was like a sort of a pod, like a hangout, a hub, like a certain sort of, like almost venue at times where it was a studio where other people had shows, like hip downtown people had shows. Me and my buddy Mordecai Shlomo Rubenstein
Amazing.
had a podcast together, and he's Orthodox Jew, and he works in fashion. And this you'd
Okay.
find this interesting. It's like, have you ever seen the film Rumspringa?
No.
Okay, you know when the Amish go on a Rumspringa, they leave the Amish community and they go and
Oh,
find
right.
out about the world.
Yes,
and
I
they
do
catch
know.
all.
Yeah.
So Mordecai, it's the same thing if you're Orthodox Jewish. You leave the community. Not that he's not still welcome in the community and has like, I went to his wedding and it was a very traditional wedding, and he's still, but he doesn't wear like, he's not in the uniform like
Yeah.
the Hasidic uniform that
Yeah.
you've seen like that. So he's even more into fashion than people that would. If you and we had choices our whole life. Imagine if you had no choice,
Oh, right,
and then
right.
how saturated the sense
Totally.
of choice would be.
Yeah.
Like you never tasted grapes before, and then all of a sudden you tasted grapes.
Yeah.
Like we were talking about wine.
Yeah.
You'd be like, or I was just watching a blind guy on Instagram. His sense of palate, his taste is like the way he describes it is often synesthesia. Like the way you see colors. That's
Yeah.
your sort of things get fused.
Yeah.
But if you're blind,
Wow.
your sense of hearing and so.
And taste and smell. Yeah.
So this is the guy I had the podcast with. Not a very comical relationship, but he and I did the show together, and he was Orthodox, and so it's funny. I always wanted to divert away from talking about fat. Like this is before we had live streams and stuff like that. We had it like it was like pirate radio to me.
Wow, cool.
So it's like 10 years ago, and then he'd be talking about the people's outfit, and I'm like, Morty, this is a fucking radio show.
Yeah, right.
How you talking? But we got the thing about this. As I said, I could zoom
can
in
joke,
on
yeah.
those Belgium loafers over there, and
yeah.
and that's something that we would do on the show. But also, I pay attention these things. I work in art. I'm
You
an
do?
artist. Yeah, and I do.
And a visual artist.
yes, a
obviously.
visual artist. Yeah.
In what medium?
Well, I worked conventionally in mediums before I went to art school, and then I went to Carnegie Mellon in Pittsburgh, and I was kind of I romanticized Pittsburgh because I spent childhoods there, and I wanted to go back there, and just doing conventional painting and drawing, and then when I went to, it's a conceptual art program, and so I got into like kind of conceptual like installation and
Are you doing that here in LA?
well, we're doing it now,
Totally,
like
you're right.
basically. So like like it's a sort of, it's a work. It's always a work in
It's
progress.
always a work in progress.
It-
Totally.
so
Wait,
I don't really
have
think
to
of.
share. This is it. I have to share something.
Yeah.
About this.
Yeah.
I began a project. It's related to vintage and
Yeah.
menswear. Like I sort of had
And
this.
menswear. I love that. I
had
love it.
This, like, no, not just
Yeah.
menswear. It was like it was this movement about design, fashion, culture, wellness, relationships, and work. And I had this concept called the underground haberdasher
Okay.
that I began developing.
Yep.
And so now you can visit theundergroundhaberdasher.com if you care for.
I
But
love
it's
it. I
this-
love it. I love a haberdashery.
I love a haberdashery.
I like the
But this
idea
is,
of it.
Like this is
Yeah.
not a brick and mortar haberdashery. This is what we're doing. So my notion of the underground haberdasher is like Anthony Bourdain meets Esquire magazine.
I get it.
And I'm
I
doing
like it.
these dope mini documentaries and profiles about guys like you.
Yeah.
As well as like, for example, next week I'm downtown LA. There's a guy and his girlfriend who started this incredible company
Yeah.
called Object from Nothing. Mm-hmm. And they are not trained as fashion designers, but they own a brand. And what they do, he's a structural engineer, and she does like interior design. And they began deconstructing items, and turning them into apparel. So, for example,
Yeah.
taking like a vintage military tent and turning it into a pair of pants.
Cool.
Or-
Yeah, yeah.
Super dope.
Using the fabric, using vintage fabrics essentially as
Or
well.
even-
or
yes.
I like that. I like when I see. I actually own a suit that I gave to a guy that I can't wear here. That it was like, it's upholstery fabric that they use to make a suit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like a chalk stripe, sort of like a lot of those like awning stripes. I like
Yeah.
that too. Like
Yeah.
you could do. It's funny. Well, how did you end up? Like, let's get to that. Like, how long have you been in LA?
Okay, I've
You're
been in-
obviously from the East Coast.
Yeah,
What
I've
you?
been in LA 13 years. I'm like a lot of guys in this town. I'm a writer. I'm an actor. I work in
A jack
film
of
and
all
television.
trades.
No, all the stuff. I mean, like what I mean by that is you get to LA, and unless you're like have a rich uncle or you're a retired professional athlete or whatever, you're just another jerk off getting off
Sure.
the bus from Ohio who wants to work in movies.
We
Right?
we
You're
just
you're another-
spoke about this
Yeah.
almost kind of not last week, but it was very similar.
But I have
Yeah.
this belief. I have this like really conviction that you're basically just until you make yourself valuable in LA when you're
Yeah.
a newcomer, you're just another car on the road causing more traffic.
Didn't I just say this?
This is
Like
all you are.
basically, this is the analogy. I said. The other guy said, "Well, I wasn't necessarily welcomed when I first came in.
Because
Came
you're
to
not
Los
valuable.
No, and not only are
And
you
people
not,
don't get that.
and-
Make
but also
yourself valuable.
you're ruining their view. It's beautiful here. It's
Yeah.
like almost like
Who's ruining whose view?
you as a new camper, right?
Yeah.
Like you're on the you ever go camping?
Yeah.
And this is the analogy I made. You just arrive to the spot and you're like, this is beautiful. Look at this fucking spot.
Yeah.
And you're there for a little bit, and then it's like evening starts to come and more hikers start showing up.
Right.
And you're like, this motherfucker's gonna set up camp right next to me.
Yeah, that's right.
And you're like, but to them, to those people that are coming up the hill, they're having that same experience that you first
That's
had. So
right.
they're like this, bright-eyed and bushy-tailed.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Look at this fucking campsite, and then they're like, "Oh, there's just a couple over there. They're fine." And you're
interesting.
even friendly because you just came into this beautiful view, this beautiful situation,
I
and
have
you're
a slightly-
friendly.
I have a slightly different analogy.
Yeah. Okay. Let's hear.
Here's
it.
my analogy about getting to LA.
Yeah.
And bear in mind, like I got here, I came to the party very late. What I
Yeah.
mean by that is I got to LA at 38 years old.
Yeah. I did
Okay.
it at like 48,
And
47.
Right, and when I got to LA, I still had brown hair.
Yeah.
And I looked the way I looked, but I looked like when I was 38, I looked 30.
You looked younger.
Right,
Yeah.
And then like when my hair went gray, I sort of like all of a sudden like aged into a different casting. But my point about all that is that
Sure.
you get to LA and you don't know anybody, and more importantly, no one knows you, and
Yeah.
no one cares about you.
Totally.
And as I said, you're just another problem that arrived with a car that's causing more traffic.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
and I say like that experience for me is like being one of the really shy, unpopular kids in high school that doesn't get invited to parties, where you're just hanging out in your mom's basement with no invitation.
Or you're just like
anywhere.
in the corner of the room.
Yeah, so you get to LA, and then you're like, I don't even know anything about anything.
Music, pause it. It's going on and off.
Oh, I don't know. Okay.
Keep going.
And then you start to learn a couple things. Like maybe you get a job as a valet, or you get a bartending job, and you find out oh, this is where stuff is happening, but you're still not invited. You're not even in the parking lot.
Yeah.
And then you get a little bit closer to the park, and you start to find out there's all these, like, I'll call them like keg parties.
Yeah.
The keg parties of the cool kids, but those are TV shows and films and other really great projects you want to be part of that you're still not invited to.
Yeah.
And but you now know where they are. And as you keep going along, you get invited to a couple of them, and you're like, "Oh, this is really cool." But it's like, what are you bringing? What are you bringing to this thing that is going to give us the reason to invite you into this thing? And they come sometimes really infrequently. Like you get invited to one, and then 2 years goes by before you
Yeah.
get invited back. But you keep going along, and slowly you start to form this little tribe. And eventually, my whole point about this is that you're here for long enough. And what happens, hopefully, is you go, I'm going to stop worrying about trying to get invited to the parties. And I'm going to go create cool shit that interests me.
Yeah.
And then that's just what, like, things, you're attracting things instead of chasing things. As we do, like, when you're new and you're insecure and you don't know anything,
Yeah.
and you just want to get a toehold in, you're trying so hard.
It's funny because I took a lot for granted myself personally because I was in a community in New York. Like New York has its own community, and then an extension of like the art community where I work professionally, and also sort of liberal arts educating other, there's like a network that exists like in that sphere in which you are already in your own sort of private society within society. There is no like getting into, if you're in it and you don't see it that way, until like Los Angeles, in my experience, it's far less of a network that's like that. Like, in a sense, it's far more sparse. And I didn't make these I made the analogy. It's like more like a river in New York, where it's this constant impact, and in like here, it's like these little like tide pools of activity, kind of.
That's
It's
exactly right.
and so you getting into a tide pool rather than getting into like it requires it's far more delicate. It's a far more like intangible.
I know.
So I
The river is a great analogy, and I'll actually
because you jump into the river and it's
Totally.
like it's like this.
Yeah, that's right. And by
And
the way,
then-
you know what? That relates to, because this is an LA, New York thing too, in my opinion.
Yeah.
What you're speaking to about New York is actually analogous to the subway. It's literally a river moving through this.
Sure. Yeah,
and,
yeah.
And what that does, one of the things about being in New York is that you can get on a subway car and you can have like a banker, a graffiti artist, a runway model,
Sure.
whatever. Like everyone's occupying the same space. In LA, you don't have that. You
That's
have-
what we're just talking
you
about, the
have-
stratification.
You have pods.
Yeah.
You have pods. The
Yeah.
pods are cars.
Yes.
And we're all sitting in these like little islands. And we also don't live vertically, like we live very spread out. So
sure.
everyone returns to their home or their apartment, and it is very pod-like. You do have a much more challenging
it's
time.
far more isolatory.
Yes.
And so
And that's why this is an incredible thing,
for
by the
sure.
way.
And then that's why I wanted to do it. I thought, so I came here, and especially on Wednesdays, and I like the vibe of the Wednesday market because it's the professional market, it's the chef's
Yeah,
market.
that's right.
It's sort of like not like the market that you go to when you're like, oh, let's go to Santa Monica today. Like, and you're coming from Echo Park, and you're like, it's a different vibe here.
professional market.
So
Yeah.
and so I liked where. Also, I felt that people were it's the most in Los Angeles where you're having that mix of community. There's people busking here.
Yeah.
That's sort of
I love it.
Intrinsic to the idea of doing a podcast here in the market, and like there's just this activity. We're having a conversation with you, just like boom, like that. And so before moving here 13 years ago, where were you living at before? And the East?
So, okay, like a lot of kids out of college, I moved to the Bay Area, Oakland, San Francisco.
So
Marin County.
it's fun. Okay, I'm going to interrupt you really quickly. You just told us you see like Northern California, San Francisco as alien to Los Angeles.
Yeah.
Like because
Well, I always listen. I because being from Boston, this is you're going to appreciate this. I know
for
you
sure.
will.
I love Boston guys.
Yeah, me too. But I will say this: Bostonians and guys in particular have a bit of a younger brother complex and Napoleon complex to New York. I know I'm going to get a lot of shit for
I
that,
get that.
but it has
absolutely. It's obvious.
It has a lot to do with the Yankees, the Red Sox.
Absolutely.
And also, New York is the capital of the world in a lot of ways, like financially, culturally.
It's the empire, Empire State.
And Boston is this like world-class city with medicine and education and culture, but we're smaller, and it's 3 hours north, and we're kind of like, fuck you, New York. I mean, there's this still
totally,
like,
but it also has it's almost, I'll be honest, and I feel like this anywhere in it feels like it's a branch campus of New York City. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's like family members that aren't on great terms.
Yeah, so it's like, of course, like the rivalry in baseball, and I always talk.
Wait, hold on. Go. I must express this important point after living in
please.
So Bostonians were way more aggro with our New York hatred. We're like, fuck Jeter. Like Jeter's been retired for 20 years, but we're still saying fuck Jeter. But
absolutely.
San Francisco has a different thing, and I picked up on this because I'm from Boston. Here it is. I lived up there a long time, and it's beautiful. But I sort of felt like a passenger in someone else's life. It wasn't the right place for me. But one of the things
Interesting. I like a passenger in someone else's life.
but not to live, not forever.
Yeah.
One of the things I got hip to, it took me a long time, and I finally was like, oh, I see what's happening. It reminds me of Boston, but it's not aggro like Boston. It's passive-aggressive. Here's what San Francisco does. San Francisco and Southern California are in a fight.
Yeah.
Except Southern California doesn't know about the fight. They don't care.
I
They
was
don't
thinking
care.
just
They
that. I was like,
don't-
what?
They don't care.
Yeah,
If you-
he never heard of it.
So
I'm
you
like,
go-
This guy has hardly heard of Burbank,
if
though.
you go up,
know?
if you go up to Berkeley, San Francisco, Emeryville, anywhere up there,
Yeah.
and if you were living up there and said, "Hey, I'm going to be moving to Venice
Yeah.
next week," they'd be like, "Ugh, "Why would you go down there?"
Totally.
It's an immediate reaction, like, "What?" They're very protective.
Salty.
Of like, and then if I were to say to Gunnar, "I'm moving to Emeryville," he'd be like, "Oh,
Cool.
great,
Yeah.
good luck,
Enjoy.
make sure you take it."
Yeah.
So
I
that
know.
has a lot to do with San Francisco needing to feel good about
Approval.
itself.
They need approval
They
from
need
Los
to be-
Angeles.
because LA is the coolest kid on the bus.
Yeah.
And San Francisco's like, fuck you, we're really cool too. We've got organic tomatoes too. Go fuck yourself.
So I get that, and so
And I didn't. And here's
so
and I
you
did-
felt like that. So that's why you
I
felt
did-
drawn to. How long did
No,
you live in
I-
San Francisco,
a
though?
long time, 14 years.
That's long.
I lived in Marin, Oakland, San Francisco.
You,
It's a long time.
you bounced around
And
the
I had-
Bay
I
Area,
had
let's
a
say.
different life.
Yeah.
I wanted to whatever, and I knew. Here's the thing, though. I knew I wanted
Well,
to be.
you had a different life in which way? Come on,
Well,
let's
because-
not dismiss it.
All
Let's,
right,
let's,
fine. No,
let's
what
curious.
I mean by that is that I knew when I was freaking 5 years old that I wanted to move to LA and to New York and pursue acting in film and television and theater. I
Yeah.
knew it.
Yeah.
But I didn't believe I could do it. And
Yes.
so what I did
That's
was
interesting.
I did what a lot of people do, a lot of guys do. I think is like I go the other direction. I go to liberal arts college. I go to business school. I start a company. I do the sales thing. I fucking hate every second of it. I feel like a fraud.
You
and I'm
feel-
trying
everything.
to.
So
I'm
wait,
trying to
everything
talk
was.
myself
Can I
into-
just ask you? Everything was a sublimation for what you really wanted to do, which was act.
That's right.
So are you acting now?
Yeah. So I.
Yeah.
That's right. And I do.
Which we all do, but you all, like you always dreamed of being in movies in a way,
Yeah,
right?
that's right.
So it's like you didn't quite because it seems like
And I work. And
film is something intangible in a
That's
lot
right.
of ways.
And also, what you realize about working in film and television here, or
Yeah.
I have, is that you fucking let go of expectations for sure. You're
Yeah.
grateful for the like you book a television thing that pays some money. You're grateful for it, even though it maybe doesn't excite you creatively. You're freaking grateful for it.
Yeah.
And then what you do is you don't be fucking lazy, and you write and you produce and you create cool shit with people that inspire you. And
Absolutely.
sometimes thousands of people see it, and sometimes 500 people see it, and that's it. And that's it. And then
That's
you
sort
leave
of
it
what
up.
we're doing here. So, like,
Yeah.
you know, we have no viewers right now. We're going to compile a thing. Like, you know, we're just doing it live for the sake. But I like that you know, you're just, you're going to do it the best you can regardless.
Yeah, and grow and get to do the best work you can.
And are you acting in anything currently?
Yes, I am. So I've written 2 pieces that I'm producing. I had a couple of like reoccurring things.
Cool.
That were great.
Yeah.
That's
Now,
completed.
is this all film or stage
television? I work in
Theater.
Theater.
Yeah.
Took a break from that because I make a living I own a company called Generous Pour. And Generous Pour is a company that does, we might do a collaboration. It's almost like a salon series with culinary cocktails and art and fashion and design.
Okay, cool.
In cool venues in LA.
Yeah.
So I'll do the Generous Pour cocktail hour and I'll feature artists' work. I'll do a pop-up of vintage apparel.
Okay.
And I'll do a series, and I'll do a chef collaboration
Yeah.
where, like, for example, last month, my great friend
And I was watching your.
my great friend Andres renovated his he's in 1979, I think, El Camino. You know the car?
Yeah.
He renovated it into a taco truck.
I know the guy.
You know
I've
Andres-
had
Andres Peña.
Oh,
So
Peña,
he-
yeah, because the catcher
he
named
and I-
Tony Peña.
Yeah, he and I did a collaboration. I did a cocktail series. He did street tacos.
He caught that.
And we did a pop-up on Abbot Kinney and hosted an art installment vintage pop-up taco and tequila celebration.
So I met him. He was doing smash burgers.
Yes, and he does smash burgers.
He was doing smash burgers out of the back of an El Camino, which is a cool car, obviously, next to that Canal Market, or with Canal Market. It was put on. Have you ever been to Canal Market in Venice?
Yes.
Yeah, that's what.
I saw that.
Oh, you were there.
I know, but I saw his like B-roll footage of it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So, your buddies, you do collaborations. He does events
I
for
did
you.
One. No.
Yeah,
we
yeah.
did one.
Okay.
And I'm like actually
Yeah,
here
he's a cool
today.
guy.
So actually, if you or your viewers or whatever want to check me out at Esther's, I'm gonna do a weekly pop-up at Esther's. Esther's on Wednesday night. Esther's is on 7th in Santa Monica, right up the street
Yeah.
right here. They've been there 10 years. It's a oyster bar and wine shop, and I'm going to do a culinary pop-up, like a culinary cocktail pop-up.
Oh, the one that does it. It has a very what's the Art Deco sort of design
it's
to
kind of
it.
got an Art Deco design. It's a great spot. They've been
It's
there
on
10 years.
7th, right off
7th
of.
in between Arizona, where we are,
Yep.
and Santa Monica.
Yes.
I mean, you could, you know,
it's
you could
on.
walk
It's
here.
on the west side of the street.
That's right.
Okay, I know
I
it.
would
It's
love
cool.
to have you guys
Yeah.
there.
We'd love to.
And we got to stay in touch.
Yeah, yeah.
And I'll come-
When are you gonna do it? So
We're looking. So what is today's? We're looking for. It may be as soon as next week, if not the week after.
Okay, if we could do it next week because I'm leaving for New York on August 6th, and then we're going to Spain for like
Amazing.
2-3 weeks, maybe a month.
And then you're back in September.
Back in September.
Back in LA in September.
Yeah, but Gunnar will be maybe potentially in. We didn't cover that yet, but we will today on this show.
Amazing.
He's going to Fort Lauderdale
Dope.
to for the Yes Gen.
The
Oh.
Yes Gen. It's a
Good lord.
yeah. So I have a one-way ticket to Florida on August 10th, where I'm going to be a chef, holistic health coach, and member of the community, and at a
Tremendous.
at a location in Lighthouse Point, Florida, which is about 45 minutes from Miami, and an hour from Jupiter, Florida, kind of sandwiched in between. And I'm going to be living with a community of young, like-minded entrepreneurs.
Tremendous.
There you go. That was the plug.
So you'll have to wait. You're going to have to come back and break that down completely for
I
us,
will.
right?
I'm gonna be making videos on it the whole time.
I was
shooting
hoping
content.
I started thinking when Gunnar presented me with this that this would be a good documentary, no matter where it went, because it's kind of like there's this whole their generation's different than our generations. You know what I mean?
Big time.
There's it's antithetical almost, right? Like it's like there's a whole like sort of this entrepreneurial sort of like like business speak
Yeah.
sort of thing
Yeah,
we would just state like as a Generation Xer and
Yeah.
like you said, Boston's the little like if you're like the little brother, if you're the runt, like I'm at the tail end of Generation X.
Yeah.
Like don't you're like I want to prove I'm more Generation X than anybody. You know what I mean? So like
you are that way.
that's what I think that people are that are like like sort of it's always like bordering communities, right? Like
Yeah.
if you're like right at the
Oh, I see
line,
what you're saying. Yeah.
you
Yes.
fight
Oh,
the
I get-
hardest.
I get
You know what I
you're
mean?
saying.
You're
Now I
like
get
you're
it.
like waving the flag the hardest.
Yeah.
So that's what I think of in the sense of like a sensibility. So for me, this sort of like and even though we're doing a podcast, but this is always my reluctancy with all this is that this like self promotion.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? This like being like like being in the screen and just
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
like sort of selling. And I don't even, for instance, the Yes Gen, if you see it, I don't even know what he's selling exactly. Oh, what's up, Kenny? I don't even know what he's selling exactly.
Right.
Yes, right? Like you're
Right,
just
and-
like
I know, and we had all kinds of suspicion and contempt for that. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like the knee-jerk
Exactly.
reaction, right? There's like this, especially like a Northeast Boston Gen X, Irish Italian sensibility is like, who the fuck do you think you are?
Yeah.
Right?
yeah. Yeah, it's ridiculous to the These are good.
Really, they don't taste like anything to me. They taste. It doesn't taste like much.
It's
earthy.
subtle.
It's subtle. It's earthy. You're right.
Yeah.
It's not like this. It's not like a It's
But
subtle.
the
But it is
texture
quite nice.
so good too.
Oh yeah.
It makes it like sometimes
I like the crunch.
Yeah.
when you have a dessert that's so subtle,
Yeah.
you're like, that's a dessert. You're like, this is how like when you have it,
Yep.
and it's just because it's a little different,
Yep.
and you're not always. It's just like you're not like bombarded with sweet.
Yeah.
You're like, this is how dessert should always
right.
be. You say that immediately. Of course, you want something like I'll still jump into some Ben and Jerry's, like the Tonight Dough. You know what I mean?
right.
The Tonight Dough.
Yeah.
And the thing is that, and I'm not no free ads, but Ben and Jerry, if you're looking to sponsor us, we will take that sponsorship from Ben and Jerry. I'm going to be honest with you. At the farmers market, it would be hysterical.
Yeah.
So. And that's for our 2 listeners, or we got 1 view today. We're doing so. We'll
I love it, I love it.
we'll re-put this up.
Yeah.
But there's something charged about the live
Wait,
too.
listen. Oh, totally. And listen,
know?
I'm so overwhelmed with how cool this is.
I'm glad you dig it.
I
I'm
really
glad
am.
that yeah,
And
like
I'm really
it's,
humbled. And you mentioned to me to come by.
and you probably saw Gunner. You're like, what's this gonna be about?
I was, but he spoke about. I got a sense of it. I
Uh-huh.
did not expect this guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I did not expect.
Why did you?
So,
He
like,
didn't expect this, and that's true.
Yeah.
He like
So
you
this-
didn't prime him, did
this
you?
is, this is like This is the greatest surprise of my week so far. This is fucking great.
I'm glad you like it.
If you don't, if you guys would have me back, I would be so honored to come and sit down and I have to
For
have
sure.
You gotta
Absolutely.
You gotta unpack Florida, and you gotta unpack
Yeah.
Spain.
Yeah, exactly. I'm so we have. I leave it carte blanche. We've had for anybody that steps up. You know what I mean? We've had. Especially, I just like to do that. We're doing interviews like mainly with like a lot of the people at the market, which we should probably get Chemo over here at some point, and Alex would have been good. So we wanted to interview.
Alex, you mean from the farm right here?
Yeah.
Yeah, Alex. Is
He's a
incredible.
character.
Yeah, he's amazing.
I mean, all these guys are.
Wait, could I present this as an idea? Maybe the next time or another time I visit you, I would like to bring a little like a picnic that I prepared.
Sure.
For you guys.
Absolutely.
Basically like a farmer's market.
Grab bag.
Grab bag.
Yeah,
And
I dig
I
it.
can even make a couple of non-alcoholic cocktails.
I like that.
I'll do it all for you.
I could do cocktails. He can't, but I can. Just straight cocktails.
Great. I'll do that too. I'll blow you away.
No, I'm kidding.
We'll
You
break it
can,
down.
we
We
haven't-
can get into that. I mean,
like this guy doesn't need a cocktail anytime soon.
when I get back from Florida, I'll definitely have a
Why
cocktail.
don't you need a cocktail anytime soon?
because he's in a sober living situation. Like he just like. But
I live at a sober living house.
Why? Because you were placed there?
I was placed
I'm not-
there.
I'm not giving you a hard time.
I
I'm not-
essentially placed myself there. I
No,
don't
Can I
struggle.
ask you this? Here's what I'm saying. Why, if I'm
I
being
love- I
real.
love placed
if you're in
himself
sober,
there.
why?
He was
why
like a
would
chess piece, though. He
why
was
would-
like, hold on a second. Hold
why
on.
would a cocktail be ever a good
D6.
idea if you've been in a sober living? Like, why would you? Tell me about that.
I don't struggle with sobriety at
Okay.
all.
Neither do I, and I don't drink
Yet,
right now.
and I don't regularly drink. I don't drink to feel happy. I drink, or I'll use substances as kind of a
Gateway.
if it presents itself to
Yeah.
me. Like I'm not in pursuit of it ever.
Yeah,
And so I'm not. I did in the past use marijuana heavily from a place of lack, and that created more lack.
Yeah.
And so after learning that, I no longer pursue
can I-
substances
can I
out
ask
of like
you-
a low vibrational
I
state.
wanted to ask him. We've spoken about this before, and this is where you go into like a proselytization, like sort of, and it has its own little proselytize.
and I kind of break it down too much, honestly. I need to.
It's not just that. It's just that you go into a certain rhetoric that is like. So Gunner first came to me and wanted to do the podcast, and I'm glad that you're here because we're going to have like even like as somebody that's a third part, so we can explain to. It's like. I wanted to set up a dialectic in a sense,
Yeah.
like in a Socratic way.
Yeah.
Really, like
Yes.
if like so, like Gunner's much younger than me and less experienced. Obviously, that's just the nature of
Right.
what it is to live.
Yeah.
like you know, sort of like I've been shot into on spaceship Earth for like
Yeah.
30 more years. I've had, however you want to look at the layout of this, the universe or whatever. More rotations, right?
Yeah.
So. When we set up the dialect, I thought Gunner's a very anecdotal guy. See, like you could finish a sentence. You knew indelibly. What's up, Kenny? So this was a guest that we had on as well.
Kenny.
Yes, Kenny from Garden of.
Cool.
So, and I love that farm stand.
Get back into it.
Not to digress. So we thought we'd have a sort of like he said he wanted to do a podcast, and I had been thinking, I'd like to do it. Like wanted to keep doing it when we lost the hub that I was referring to earlier in 2017, and it sort of began to disintegrate. And we didn't have as good a technology maybe at the time. That was only 10 years ago, but it's true. We were doing it from like Washington Square Park, or we do it at like we do it at like the back of a store. We were getting invited to do it at different places. Our show we were doing that, but it's hard to keep that up regimented. Even us just setting up here.
Yeah.
Has it's like we're setting up a farm stand. Like this
Big
has a
time.
little bit more
Yeah.
of an energy to it that it's an office.
Yeah.
Like Ernest Hemingway didn't just write when he wanted to. He showed up to an
Yeah.
office
Yeah.
and wrote you know, like at 10 in the morning, like shut his door. It said, you know, Ernest Hemingway on it, and he went to work. So, you know, I thought we'd set up this dialectic, Gunnar and I, and sometimes the point that I'm trying to make is that I've learned about Gunnar is that when he goes into this sort of rhetoric speak, and it's similar to because I watched the Yes Gen, the guys that he's going to, and I don't want to be critical, and I want to tell somebody to follow their bliss.
Right.
You know, like, you know, whatever you want to do in life, you should do it. You
Right,
know, like you got to learn the hard way. You learn, you know, you
Yep.
figure it out.
Yep,
That's what
yep.
life is.
Yep.
And so I wouldn't discourage anybody, but there's this rhetoric that sort of is like from that generation, or
Yeah.
like they go into this prosthetization.
Yes.
It's like selling. It's also endemic to the idea that you are selling something, like I said before, this sort of young entrepreneur,
Yeah.
and you don't even know what you're selling, and there's this like rhetoric is speaking, like I'm certain this is the way it is. I'm so certain, but the reality is that you're like, the best that you can offer at that age, because we were there, is to be anecdotal and open and observant. And you shouldn't be proselytizing because you have nothing to proselytize. You know nothing. I'm just saying from my own
Totally.
personal
Yeah.
experience. I knew that
Yep.
now more so than I did then, but I suspected it then,
Yeah.
right? Like I'm like, I really don't
Yeah.
know anything
Yeah.
yet.
Yeah.
So how am I going to just turn around after having done this thing for 2 weeks,
Yeah.
be now the expert
Yeah.
on this thing? And
Yeah.
this is a part of this culture because of this. It's
Because of this and
It's
all this.
reiteration.
That's right.
Constant reiteration. It's like it's a feedback loop. And
Yeah.
what I'm trying to say is, I think Gunnar's performing best when he's not proselytizing, is what I'm trying to tell him, and not going into this sort of
and
like
I'm
certain speak.
with all of that.
Yeah.
But can I ask this? Was there? Are you saying
But
that
the-
when
no-
we were speaking, was there something that was like arising that was him proselytizing?
No,
when I
yeah,
was-
but when he goes, okay, so like when we've had this cathartic experience, like where we're talking about his process, right? Like if you know, like what he's doing,
Yep.
him not, you know, showing up to like why he's in a sober living house, you know, that
Right.
sort of stuff. How we got, and so we've had this conversation. You're stepping in it. Episode
so speak
20.
more about that. Let's talk
Yeah.
more about the
Sure.
circumstances of where you're
Sure.
living and why.
And what I'm trying to say is that he often goes into the speak that
Got it.
he knows why he's like he knows why he's there, like, and he's also like, I'm in control of it. I'm in this, you know, and it's sort of this, and it's because the
Well, I understand
the
that
language
I'm
of
the
it,
point
yeah.
of creation.
let me,
Sure,
but
yeah.
so go continue.
Sure. So like, it's been sort of a process since almost even like high school where I didn't show up to school for 6 months through depression, and using marijuana during that time, staying up late, playing video games, pornography, all of the kind of not incredibly deep in like pill using or, you know, heavy drugs, but isolation for
Yeah,
sure,
yeah.
and depression. And I didn't go to college. I didn't graduate high school on time. I
How old are you?
graduated 21. I graduated 6 months after because my teachers kind of cut me a deal and like let me do some work afterwards.
You graduated from high school.
I graduated high school.
You mean because your teachers cut you a deal and
They were like, we'll work with you. You can just turn stuff in later. Like I
Great.
did a little bit of summer school, so I finished
that
high
was
school.
Venice High?
Pally High.
Pally High. Okay, go on.
And then I ended up not going to Syracuse. I got into every school I applied to, and I didn't go. I ended up going to New Jersey, working with my grandparents, kind of like, you know, I discovered this.
Gunnar, can I? Because I didn't know this. Hold on a second. So you got got accepted to go to Syracuse?
I did, yes.
And what were you going to go there for?
I was going to go there
'Cause
to
this-
study business. Just like yourself, I really connected with that aspect of like, I'm great at business. I want to make money. I'm great at talking to people, and like kind of forcing this aspect of like, I need to do business because that's what, you know, is one of my skill sets. And I've done sales. I've done insurance. I've done.
But you start. But that's what
so
I was
many
going to think. Is
different
I think that you
sales
start
jobs.
identifying. You're talking about this earlier. You start identifying with you create an identity in a sense.
Well, I will say this.
Yeah.
I was operating for the first 25, 30 years of my life. I was operating almost entirely out of fear.
Correct.
And so my choices of like where I went to school, what I did, what I think I could do in this world, how I think I could participate in the world, it was all a place of, holy fucking shit, I'm not that good. When are people going to discover that I'm a fucking fraud? And so going to like the choice.
That's
of,
where
like,
I was operating.
Where I'm going to go to school and what I'm going to study and then what job and blah 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 and all the stuff was really a result of me like trying to shrink down to not be that noticed and get through it. And then all of a sudden I was like, you go along that path far enough, and hopefully like you go, oh wait a second,
This doesn't work.
I'm also inventing what there is to be. There's nothing to be scared about. I'm basically. I'm just.
Yeah.
I'm afraid to show up.
Sure.
That's what it was. It was like I'm afraid to fucking reveal like what really excites me.
Yeah.
And so,
I'm afraid to be judged.
And
I'm
so
afraid to be
can I say
poor.
what
The
was that?
cliche-
What was that apprehension? What was the reason for that apprehension?
There could be a million of them. I think probably a lot of it has to do with this, and I've spoken this to my parents. I think a lot of it has to do with that I have two really creative, intelligent, my parents are still together. They're 83 years old. They live in Massachusetts. They by any stretch of the imagination, the world, society would say like, oh, that's a successful couple, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
However, I can say that like as their kid and watching them move through the world, I was like, oh, I was downloading behavior from two people who didn't think they were that great. They sort of shrunk to what, in other words,
Interesting,
these are Irish, Italian immigrant. They're sort of like, I
Yeah.
don't think they were ever told this explicit, but there was a sort of a sense of like, know your place.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. There's sort of like unspoken,
Yeah,
know
crab
your
in a
place.
bucket sort of mentality of,
Don't-
or
don't
they
get
feel
too big
that
for your britches.
Yeah.
Know where you came
Oh,
from.
well, I was also going to say that is also very inherently Boston as well.
That's correct.
Like sort of what they call. So when I went to an exchange to New Zealand, the term that they use that we don't use here was small poppy syndrome. So.
Oh, right.
That you need to be a small poppy is what you're talking about,
In
or
Boston.
you're going to get chopped down.
The tribe is going to oust
Yes.
you. And they're going to exile you. That is a very Boston thing. Like, who the fuck do you think you are? What do you think? You're like, there's a lot of that.
Gunnar does a lot of this too. Like we have to get him that fig. He always eats during the show
Yeah.
in a way that like he'll just have we'll be like we're doing a show where we're talking, and he's into the microphone. He's munching on a cucumber, like the whole and it's like I make a joke that he needs to take in the caloric intake in the same way that who's the guy that Boys in the Hood, right?
Yeah.
Or Brad Pitt always is eating it through a scene.
Yeah, he is, right.
Gunnar is it's not like if you're not a great actor, they say they have said that do something with make yourself look busy, and a lot of great actors or who we've considered great actors do that as like a sort of crutch, right? Like Brad Pitt does it. I had this conversation in Maryland with somebody that noticed the same thing, and I just like that the way that in the film. Boys in the Hood, he always had a milk in his like an ice cream so Gunnar is often doing, and while you were talking, Gunnar is through the conversation asking me who's interviewing you to hand him some more things to eat because that's of more importance than actually getting the content from you here. So sometimes we have these like little lapses in radio courtesy. But I guess that I'm doing the same as well, and I'm just like kind of droning on and on with digression after digression. We're just we're doing this.
How many episodes are you in?
We're we've done almost 15 episodes, maybe. Do you think?
Yeah, we've
And
done
how
about
is it that
15.
how did you meet each other, and how did you decide upon it? You just came to him and said, I want to do this podcast?
No, we met on the 4th of July at a mutual friend's house, and then he and Gunnar.
I thought you were a cool ass dude too, and I was like, I heard you worked for Supreme, and I saw.
I didn't work
saw
for
you,
Supreme. I designed a few things
Well,
for Supreme.
that's what I heard.
Yeah,
I heard
yeah.
something about that, and I saw you, and I was like, okay, I'm just gonna I'm not gonna run up all bushy-eyed or bushy-tailed and bright-eyed.
and bushy-tailed.
like, oh, you did Supreme. Oh, I love Supreme.
Yeah.
I was just like, whatever. Let's just let it organically happen, and then all of a sudden we're talking about something totally different. We're talking about music and vibration, and
yeah. So that's how it came to, and I just thought Gunnar, out of anyone that I've met in California, is an open-minded,
Yeah.
sort
give you
of.
that. Yeah.
You know, like curious.
No, it's
and that's
interesting.
what you should be, I think,
Yeah.
at this age most.
You do have that in spades.
Yeah.
And that comes across like
Sure,
like,
absolutely.
Maybe it might be the most dominant characteristic about you.
Yes, yeah.
Like, and it's immediate.
That's what I'm trying to tell Gunnar is as lack of a better word, mentor or whatever we want to be. Like, lean into that.
Big time.
Like what I'm trying to say is lean into that.
Yeah.
Don't like what, and I don't want to say proselytize. Maybe that's a heavy word, but like, you don't have to sell.
No,
you
for
don't have to
sure.
sell. Like, you don't have to sell anything. Like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like, and
And I
I'm saying
think-
that, and I
yeah.
don't even know if you're like you revealed something during this whole situation here. Is that what he said was that he identified as a salesman because you're like, how do I bottle,
Yeah.
how do I package this quality about myself to something that's tangible in like the material.
Yeah.
It's like, mate, let it be cosmic. It doesn't have to be
Yeah.
capitalist.
Like I don't have to make money to travel the world. I can still travel the world
Yes.
just by creating
Yeah, you
and
just
being curious.
keeping that curiosity,
Yeah.
and that's
Exactly.
what's going to lean you into, and that's how you're going to learn. So what I'm trying to say is,
It's
you know,
almost
all
like
these-
doing the opposite
all these
to
kids
get exactly
all these
what
kids at
works.
least, and I'm not saying that, you know, they're selling stuff.
Hi, how are you?
They're selling stuff, and they don't, and or they're doing something, and it's about the capital gain, right?
Yeah.
And I always thought that when, at least when there's substance to it, that you want to be just the best at what you do,
Yeah.
and then what follows, like because you're curious about like the craft, or let's even say the food,
Yeah.
or whatever it is, you just want it to be the best.
Yeah.
Like if I, you know, like if you were, and I just, once you've traversed one desert, the other deserts seem similarly.
Yeah.
Like, you know, like, so what I mean is that you can not only appreciate, if you can craft something, if you are good at a craft, you can appreciate other people being, and how much hard work it is to be good at a craft.
It's something totally unrelated.
And
Yeah.
something totally unrelated.
Yeah.
And then you also, what I mean is that you also, through that experience, through that something pure, you know, the other things will come. You know, like the other things will naturally come, and I don't think that you need to. So what I'm like watching these things that I found out it was the Yes Gen that he's going to be joining, and I'm not saying like, I'm saying do your thing.
Yeah.
You're gonna have a good time no matter what. You're young. Fucking do you. But what I mean is that, what is it that you're proselytizing, or what do you
Yep.
like? And it's an amalgam of stuff like.
Let me.
I hear God. I
Yeah,
hear, you know, like getting a Ferrari is one of was like, I have 120 days with no money
Right,
to get a
right,
Ferrari.
right,
Watch
right.
me do it.
Yeah.
You're gonna be with me through the whole process, and I'm just gonna, you know, it's like a lot of like empty euphemisms.
Yeah.
That I'm just like, okay, so what's the value?
I'll tell you,
you know,
you're speaking something when you talk about experience. Like, I went to the Dominican Republic by myself several years ago, and this is, I think, speaking to your point.
yeah.
I was not there to be a part of a conference or anything, but the highlight of the trip was, well, there were two. I get there and you land in the airport, and it's an island, right? It's not a, so, and everything is like, you know, this cab ride that's like an hour and a half away is like $30, right? And so you get in the cab, and it's an island, so the road you're on is hugging the water the whole time.
Yeah.
And I'm speaking enough Spanish, and he's speaking enough English that we can communicate. And I'm telling him I want to stop for like fish tacos and a beer. And he sees a white guy from the United States, and he keeps, every time we're passing, there'd be like maybe an American-owned hotel or a fancy chain. He kept trying to turn off, and I kept saying no. And he'd look in the rearview mirror, and he's like, well, this, and I'm like, no, I don't want to go there. And we
You
go
wanted
this way.
something a
And
little
he-
more
and-
serious.
And he's right, and then there was the next one, and I'm like, no. And this is going on for an hour, and finally we pull up. There's a wooden sign, and it says, you know, tacos pescados, you know, fish tacos.
Yeah.
You know, handwritten, and I go right there, and he's like, looks in the rearview mirror, and like, come on, and down.
Are you sure you can handle it? Sort of look in the mirror.
Down the road we go, and we show up to a lady's house. And this lady comes out of the front part, and this is how things are. Like,
I like
in third
it.
world countries,
Yeah.
people turn their. There's not like, you're not having to go to an estate agency. You just turn your house into a restaurant.
Yeah.
So we open the freaking screen door, and she's got a picnic table, and she sits us down in the front of her home, which is a porch. And no menus, and I said, I go, just whatever, like El Presidente. El Presidente is the beer of Dominican Republic. 2 El Presidentes.
Yeah, we know.
And whatever you think we need to eat. Good. He walks over to the lady, orders our lunch, and we sit down. And she goes into her kitchen. She comes back out 15 minutes later and puts the meals down. And the 2 of us just start to devour it. And I'm in the corner, and I look, and she's sitting across the corner, and she's just sitting like this watching, and she's going, what is going on? Like, she can't understand, why is this like white guy from LA here eating this? But it was so satisfying to see her. She was so happy to watch these 2 guys devour her food, and I was like, this is why I came to the Dominican Republic. I just wanted this experience with these people.
Wow.
Like, do you understand? It
Yeah.
had nothing to do with like a conference that you're showing. It was like, I wanted that experience.
Sure. Yeah, that's when you.
That's what you're like. It's like, so the curiosity of the world, and when as you go out and embark and meet new people, it's like, yeah, it's great to maybe shake the guy's hand at the freaking panel that you're sharing. Cool. But it's really about the ladies' front porch that you had fish tacos.
Yeah.
And
But when Gunner's at his best, he does that though. He'll like, I see him in Venice, like he'll talk to
I know
anybody
he
and
does.
everybody,
I know.
like,
And
and
I'm saying
it's like,
lean
and
into
he's
that.
not,
That's
yeah,
the
lean.
juice.
That's what I'm trying to say. Lean
Yeah,
into
yeah.
that guy.
The juice isn't the freaking thing that you're doing with the guys for the thing.
That's what I'm saying.
bullshit.
It's not, yeah, or like I'm saying, like even like you guys met at a cold plunge.
Yeah.
And it's not like he immediately thinks that he's like, and it's just like sort of
And
lifestyle, like when you say lifestyle coach or like all this sort of thing, like, and it is a bit of that. It is a bit of like a lifestyle coach. And what I mean is that personal train. There's all these like sort of like marginalized like careers that we've seen crop up in the United States, like sort of like fringe society, sort of like motifs,
the
the
gig economy is that.
yeah. So
fringe
it,
motif,
so it's just like kind of like, and I'm just like, I don't think that Gunner, you don't need to sell. You don't need to sell that bit. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? Like, I don't
Yeah.
think you like.
Yeah,
That's what I'm telling him. That's where I'm trying to. Be,
Exactly.
like, it's kind of like you don't need to always be selling. And he doesn't do what I'm trying to say. He doesn't do. But when he goes into them, because it's not his real character. So when he goes into that mode, it becomes this like scripted sounding,
Yeah.
empty aphorisms that I realize while watching. And that doesn't mean you can't in the off hours have fun. Like maybe these guys probably. You're seeing on Instagram the Yes Gen. You're seeing clips like, you know what it is. So you're not getting what they're like. What's it like behind
Yeah.
when the camera's not on? You know what I mean? Is he depressed too, or is he like?
Probably.
Does he have mood swings? And is it like is there like an egomaniac there a little bit? Like
Yeah.
you don't know
Yeah.
because there's a leader of the Yes Gents, obviously. This
Yeah.
blonde, handsome young guy
Yeah.
that's like charismatic, and he's like you could be my wife. It's just like, and he's like, well, I just met my future wife maybe, and it's just like but even these sort of like things that. And it's being a kid.
Yeah.
You don't need it to be on a camera even per
Yeah.
se. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
or does it need to be monetized?
Yeah.
Like, it's something that like,
Yeah.
it's precious. And I saw,
Yeah.
it's funny. And what I mean is that it really is. And I say this, and I bring this guy up. The Situationist being French, and Guy Debord is a great situation. He wrote Society of the Spectacle, and that we go from humans beings to human havings to merely just human appearing. Like you're just
right.
like the trajectory of what that is. And what
Yeah.
I'm trying to say is, even in art, I saw, because I worked in art, and I'm very I want to be like, in my mind, I'm like, I want to be the best. You know what I mean? Or just not the best, but I want to be like
Your best.
I want to be my best, and I want to contribute to the philosophy of what this is. Like I want to have an important stake in the conversation of this
Yeah.
history of
Yeah.
making this stuff. And like, so I just look at guys like that as like a sellout, that we're just like, like you're just like producing, like it becomes culture production.
Yeah.
And like what I'm saying is that that's the same thing that can happen even in. So these guys are like, what is your real life? What's your private life? What if your private life has become, like you're streaming constantly, or even, like, what is it to have introspection, and what does that introspection look like? And maybe those are the great moments that I think that Gunner will share down there with, or that experience that's not talked about or not monetized or not like those, because you have.
Yeah.
We all have like a sermon that we kind of, or a mantra or whatever, that we kind of like repeating to ourselves, and that we want to sell other people on because we want to believe it even more, right? Like, you know, when it's the whole Steiner school, he went to Waldorf school, where it's like, you know, see one, do one, teach one. You know, it's really like I think they teach you that in medical school as well when you do a surgery. You know, you see one and then you do,
one.
this is how I'm doing it, and then
Yeah,
you're
you
like,
teach
then you're telling somebody.
Yeah.
So it's like, I just think that, like, you know, Gunnar is going to have those experiences there that are like life experiences, and it's not going to be like what they're actually. I don't even know how he made the $120,000, you know, Ferrari money. Do you know? The guy that
Door-to-door window washing.
Why don't you
Door-to-door
listen,
window washing.
You got to break it down for us. Come back and break it down.
Yeah.
I got to finish shopping.
yeah, we're sorry we kept you so
no,
long.
this is incredible.
So Gunnar,
Isn't
you know,
it?
yeah,
This is great.
And I like to leave it really cathartic. Gunnar's, and I'm telling you, so we have a third party. Gunnar's mother let me know that she, you know, she's concerned that he's going to Florida, that he's making an irresponsible decision. I'm privy to the whole conversation. So what I'm trying to say is, you know, I don't know. I don't want to tell somebody what to do. You know, like as being like, I don't want to tell them how to live their lives, and I didn't want to be told when I was 21 years old. Especially, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
And I don't know even. I'm
Yeah.
saying I don't know enough about what's going on
To make an opinion about
to make an opinion about it per se. And I also think people are, you know, that should do and what they want to do.
Yeah.
And that's why.
And I just, yeah, and I think
I didn't
also,
want you to
like-
think I was being
No, without a doubt.
coming
And
down on him.
I think too, it's like the thing that's maybe that I think is essential when you expose yourself to these type of opportunities or experiences. That I know there's great value actually in putting yourself in situations. You can understand this.
Yeah.
Where you need to observe and suss out bullshit.
Yeah. Yes.
There's great value. There's actually
There's incredible value
there's
in
no
it.
value to being among people who are like all the time sincere and honest and forthright. You actually, there's value in being in bullshit. It's because what
Yeah.
it does is that you have to come up against that, and you have to make these moment by moment decisions of like, am I going to play along with this bullshit or am I going to call bullshit?
Yeah.
And, right.
So it's
there's
funny that
even if it's not the thing.
Before you go, I'm going to tell you, you should watch an interview, not just this interview, but an interview that Hunter Biden does with that Channel 5 guy, I can't remember his name, Callahan something. And he's like odd, kind of goofball, like kind of, you know, like seems like a college dropout, like, but disarming because he's like this big goofy like wearing like a too big of a suit jacket with you know, like, sneakers, like just being a goof, like he looks like a goofy kid, and it's so disarming that Hunter Biden sat down and did like a 3-hour long format thing with him. And Hunter Biden is like a guy of incredible privilege. His father's a senator, his brother's a senator, like, you know, he's like, and has access to be around just probably fairly responsible human beings his whole existence. Becomes a crack addict. And speaks very candidly in this interview, and he's a very articulate, interesting guy. I will say anyone should watch, like, as a life lesson. And even Joe Rogan was like, this guy could be president because it's all on the table. And what I'm trying to say is, here's a guy with such privilege that put himself through that experience, and he said that about crack. He goes, crack, because it's so stigmatized, that you've put yourself in the most extreme, dire situations. That's where you're getting it. And so similarly, like, if you're always just stimulated by like healthy people around you, you're not going to have the perception.
No.
But sometimes it goes too far to where it's like almost, it's so
It's like,
obvious.
what do I want to program myself with?
Yeah.
And I'm not
You
saying
know?
like, listen, use your time wisely. That's
it. That's
use
true.
your time
Yes.
wisely. But when you find yourself in an encounter here, wherever, there's great value in being like, oh, wait a second, let me take a moment here. Or sometimes it comes later that night. Sometimes you're like, wait a second, let me just do a recall of that today.
Yeah.
And you're like, what was that guy? Why does that fucking thing bother me right now? Like, it's a week later. You're like,
Yeah.
why is that fucking thing that guy said up my, like,
Why
I
is it
don't-
up my craw?
Right?
Yeah.
And then you sort of start slowly unpacking it, and you're like, oh, it was that. Because he's fucking full of shit for that.
Yeah.
Okay, and then there's like value being like, okay, cool. Like I landed on it, I arrived at it. Like,
Yeah.
I wish him no ill will.
Yeah.
But like, I'm like, oh, this is real for me.
I learned something
And
here.
I learned something. That ain't real for me.
Yeah.
But I was exposed to it, and I could like sit in it and be like, okay, cool. And it really deepens your sense of like how you want to express yourself. That's my thought. Yeah?
Yeah.
I gotta go shopping.
Yeah, no, you're getting to the point where the vegetables start getting drier.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And you need
Yeah.
to seize the moment.
Yeah,
you know,
seize that.
Carpe diem.
I can't thank you enough. This was a real treat. This was such a great treat.
It was really great to have you.
Yeah.
I would love to come to
Nice meeting you as well.
your pop up
Yeah.
at what's it called again?
At Esther's.
Esther's.
The good way, a great way to find me would be like when you're in the neighborhood, come by on Friday afternoons or Sunday afternoons to Owa.
Where?
Owa, O-W-A. It's where Wabi Sabi used to be on
Yeah.
Kitty. Cocktails and sushi. And other things if you don't do any of that.
Do you want to shoot me a text message?
Yeah.
We'll stop by before we go.
Oh, you will?
Yeah, we will.
Yeah, we'll
So
stop
I'll
by
be there this Friday, I'll be there this
where
Sunday.
Wabi Sabi used to be.
Hold on. Let me, I don't have your mic on.
No.
Do you want to be responsible for adding all the stuff? Oh, no, you have it. Okay.
310
Yeah.
310 again 013 5. Yeah, it is.
Thank you, man. I don't know. I guess. It could be. I guess we're not gonna.
That was a candid moment on In Plain Air Live. Plain Air Live. In Plain Air Live.
Podcast.